On vast grasslands, and even on secluded natural fringes, movement often begins silently before the situation changes. A sudden burst of speed and a precise approach can close the gap in seconds, but even the most dangerous big cats can misjudge the timing and be forced to stop. So what causes a seemingly certain approach to fail? In food contests, hyenas rely on their strong bite and pack coordination to maintain their position. Their jaws are incredibly powerful, capable of crushing bones that many other animals leave behind. When competing for prey, they hold on to the carcass with sustained bite and coordinated group action. This coordinated effort creates constant pressure, turning any open space into an easy target. In the grassy field where the carcass of its prey lay, a cheetah was eating after a successful hunt. The scent of the food attracted a hyena, which approached with the intention of snatching the meal. The cheetah immediately stopped eating, kept its distance, and observed. As the hyena got closer, it lunged to claim its share of the food. The hyena's pressure forced the cheetah to retreat step by step. After several unsuccessful attempts to hold on to its prey, it stopped and left the area to avoid injury. The hyena advanced, seized the carcass, and began to eat. The cheetah had no choice but to retreat, while the hyena remained beside the carcass, maintaining its advantage in the struggle. When danger arises, buffalo herds immediately tighten their formation as they move across the African savanna. Adults can weigh over 1,300 pounds, with thick, curved, and very hard horns. When threatened, the herd closes into a block, with the young in the middle and the adults surrounding them. This organization creates a stable protective circle, and any gap that appears is easily tracked. On the edge of the grassland, a pride of lions silently approached. They observed, waited for the right moment, and then accelerated when their target strayed from their protective circle. One blocked the path, while the others pressed from both sides. Just as they were closing in, a mature buffalo turned, lowered its horns, and charged straight ahead, forcing the lions to split up. The counterattack disrupted the rhythm of the assault. The buffalo herd immediately pressed forward, tightening their formation and pushing back their opponents. The lions did not continue to approach and retreated from the area. The buffalo herd maintained their formation and moved away, re-establishing the distance between them. The two sides separated, each playing its role in the natural rhythm of the savanna. Not living in dense jungles, warthogs choose open grasslands to maintain their visibility on the African savanna. In the Serengeti, where lions and hyenas often hunt, the high-pressure environment forces them to remain vigilant. They don't run randomly but memorize familiar paths, choosing the nearest burrow as a survival guide. That very path was spotted by a pride of lions near the cave. They stealthily approached and then simultaneously charged as the warthogs were foraging. The chase erupted when one of them turned and ran in a familiar direction, then suddenly turned back. A shove with its tusks brought the entire herd to a standstill for a split second. That moment was enough to change the situation. The warthogs rushed into the cave entrance and disappeared underground. The lions surrounded them, trying to dig and waiting for an opportunity. But below, the warthogs had moved and escaped through another path, leaving the predators unable to reach them. This confrontation maintains a natural balance, with the constant hunting and dodging shaping the behavior of both sides. On the savanna grasslands of Africa, zebras live in herds and move in search of grass. In the Serengeti, many herds migrate hundreds of miles during the rainy season to maintain food and reduce risk, so they often choose open areas to maintain their visibility. As the formation spreads out, one zebra becomes separated from the herd, and that open space gradually becomes vulnerable. As soon as the gap appeared, a lioness was already at the edge of the area and began to observe. She kept her distance, moving slowly and waiting for the right moment. When she was close enough, she accelerated. The zebra, noticing late, turned and fled, then suddenly stopped. It turned to face her. A kick with its hind legs to the head knocked the lioness off balance and brought her to a halt. This sudden stop at the very moment of approach changed the entire course of events. The lioness retreated and did not continue the pursuit. It stood still for a brief moment before withdrawing. The zebra left the danger zone and returned to the herd. The distance was maintained, and the outcome was decided in that instant of reaction. Porcupines don't seek conflict. They choose safe paths and repeat them when there are no changes in the dry areas of the savanna. They prioritize avoiding risk and remember places where danger has occurred. When threatened, porcupines turn their backs and raise their spines in defense. This reaction helps minimize errors, but also leaves a distinct trail along their path. Following the trail, a leopard approached from behind. It kept its distance, moving low and observing carefully before accelerating. The pounce was swift, but just then the porcupine stopped and turned its back. Its spines rose up as a barrier. The leopard changed its approach angle, but every attempt to get closer was blocked. Just before its target, the leopard had to stop. A misjudging approach caused its spines to pierce its legs and face. It ceased its attack and retreated from the area. The porcupine maintained its direction of movement and returned to its hiding place, creating a distance that the predator could not close. In murky waters and slow currents, crocodiles are widely distributed in rivers, lakes, swamps, and estuaries. In areas like the Mara River, they lie still underwater, waiting for an opportunity. This environment conceals their movement and provides an ambush advantage. When prey approaches the water's edge, the advantage begins to shift in favor of the hidden predator. It ceased its attack. Taking advantage of the situation, a leopard approached the shore. It kept its body low, observing and waiting for the right moment. When the distance was close enough, it lunged into the water. The pounce created a powerful wave, but the crocodile immediately turned and dived underwater, changing direction from below and forcing the leopard to react. The rapid change from underwater quickly cost the leopard the initiative. The leopard stopped its approach, turned around, swam back to shore, and left the area. The crocodile remained in its position, silent in the murky water. The encounter ended with control returning to the dominant predator. The open spaces of the African savanna allow gazelles to move and observe from a distance. They live on low grasslands where visibility is unobstructed and speed is a major advantage. In East Africa, herds of Thomson's gazelles frequently move through areas with cheetahs, and it is this environment that makes early reaction time a decisive factor. In the open savanna, a cheetah began to approach from behind. It kept its body low, observing the movement and waiting for the right moment. When the calf strayed from its mother, it immediately accelerated. The chase erupted, and the mother turned, lowered her head, and lunged straight at the predator. The backward lunge caused the cheetah to stop and drop its target. The herd of antelopes immediately closed in, keeping the calf in the center and moving away. On the open grass, the cheetah stopped when the antelope was out of reach. Both continued to move in their familiar pattern, maintaining their predatory relationship and avoiding each other. Not solitary, baboons move in large troops and maintain constant vigilance on the savanna and forest edges. Adults guard the edges, young in the center. When threatened, the entire troop does not scatter, but quickly regroups, signals, and exerts counter-pressure. This organizational structure forms a stable defense system where each position supports the others. Beneath the sparse foliage and the dry leaves covering the ground, a leopard silently crept to the edge of the troop. It lowered its body, observing their movements, and waited for an opening. When close enough, it accelerated and pounced on a monkey at the edge. The warning signal spread immediately. The adults turned and advanced, closing the circle from multiple directions. The tightening encirclement deprived the leopard of its advantage. It held its prey for a moment before being forced to release it. Facing the risk of injury, the leopard retreated and left the area. The troop maintained its formation and continued to move, maintaining a constant balance of hunting and defense. Failures don't stem from a lack of strength, but from a misalignment in timing and approach. Each species survives thanks to unique advantages such as quick reflexes, coordination, or the ability to utilize the environment at the right moment. And it is these small differences that shape the outcome in seconds. In nature, nothing is certain. The result depends entirely on how each side handles the decisive moment. On the vast grasslands of Africa, where lions often hold the upper hand, there are moments when the entire hunt collapses with a single misstep. When distance is reduced and the prey reacts faster than anticipated, the predator is forced to retreat at the point of impact. What truly determines the fine line between control and failure in these seemingly certain hunts? In the open savannas and grasslands of the Serengeti, African wild dogs thrive thanks to their long-range vision and unobstructed space. This terrain allows them to spot targets from a great distance and maintain a pursuit formation from the outset. When moving in packs, they maintain a steady rhythm and lock down escape routes. This control of space quickly pushes any approach into direct contact. From that moment of narrowing distance, an old lioness approaches a watering hole and encounters the already positioned pack of wild dogs. The encirclement closes in small steps, the gap diminishing with each movement. In the brief moment before collision, both sides maintain their positions. Immediately afterward, the lioness lunges and holds her target at the edge of the formation, but the entire pack reacts simultaneously from multiple directions, breaking the hold almost instantly. As soon as the hold is broken, waves of harassment ensue, forcing the lioness to constantly change direction. The pressure increased with each passing moment, destabilizing the position. The gap was broken, allowing the target to escape. The lion lost its rhythm and was forced to retreat step by step, eventually leaving the area. When the attack rhythm could no longer be maintained, the initiative no longer belonged to the lone predator. Coordination and continuous pressure allowed the pack of wild dogs to control the space in a short time. The situation ended decisively. The lion failed to achieve its objective, while the pack of wild dogs maintained its formation. In the river, lake, and swamp systems of the sub-Saharan region, such as the Okavango, hippos spend most of their day submerged in water to retain heat, coming ashore at night to forage. The transitional zone between water and shore creates mandatory pathways where any movement is easily detected. Their strong territorial instincts cause hippos to react quickly to intrusions. These factors rapidly reduce the distance to a collision threshold. Just as that threshold is reached, the lion is crossing the river and is forced to maintain its course within the current. From below, the hippo closes the distance in a straight line, without altering the water's surface. For a brief moment, space is almost still before collision. Then the hippo suddenly lunges forward, forcing the lion to react while off balance. With no safe distance left, one lion immediately turns back toward the shore, while the other two accelerate to escape the water. The pressure from behind caused the direction of movement to constantly change and become unstable. The distance widened rapidly with each stroke, forcing the lion to focus all its energy on escaping. The hippo couldn't maintain its approach point when the lion reached the shore and broke free. This missed approach moment in the water completely changed the situation. The advantage underwater was no longer maintained as the distance widened. The difference between water and shore reversed the situation in a matter of seconds. The outcome was decisive, with the lion escaping and the hippo completely losing control of the situation. Along the rivers of Africa, crocodiles always choose the boundary between water and land as their ambush point. In the Mara River, they can lie still underwater for hours, waiting for herds of antelope to pass. This environment forces prey to approach in an unstable state. This pushes any movement to a dangerous range, where collision can occur in a very short moment. As soon as the lion crosses that water boundary, it moves into the river without noticing the movement below. The crocodile maintains an extremely low position underwater and closes the distance little by little. The surface remains almost unchanged for a few seconds, creating a brief lull. Then, immediately, the crocodile lunges forward, forcing the lion to react in a very tight space. When the safe space disappears, the lion turns and accelerates towards the bank. Its direction of movement changes constantly as pressure closes in from behind. The distance widened quickly, but wasn't safe enough in the first few steps. The crocodile lost its approach point and the opportunity to control the situation. The lion escaped the water shortly afterward. The moment of counterattack changed the entire situation. The advantage was no longer with the crocodile as the distance widened. The difference between water and land quickly reversed the situation. In the end, the lion left the area, and the crocodile failed to achieve its objective. On the vast grasslands of Masai Mara, Kenya, hyenas utilize the open space to form packs and control the area from multiple directions. The sparsely populated environment allows them to observe far and move in perfect unison. Packs can number 50 to 80 individuals, with a clear hierarchical structure led by females. This coordination quickly creates concentrated pressure, bringing any approaching lion into direct contact. Upon entering this pressure zone, a lone lion approaches and is immediately spotted by the hyena pack. A cordon forms from multiple directions, gradually narrowing the surrounding space. In the brief moment before collision, both sides maintain their positions. Shortly afterward, the lion lunges and holds its target, but the entire pack reacts simultaneously, applying pressure from all sides and breaking the control almost instantly. As soon as the position was broken, relentless harassment ensued, forcing the lion to constantly shift its position. Pressure increased with each wave, preventing the lion from maintaining stability. The approach from behind further diminished its control. The lion lost its rhythm and was forced to retreat, eventually leaving the encirclement. The attack was broken right within the encirclement, and the initiative immediately slipped from the lion's grasp. The hyena's coordinated and continuous pressure allowed them to control the space in a very short time. The situation closed decisively, and the lion was forced to leave the area at a disadvantage. In the sub-Saharan African savannas, like Kruger, buffalo herds are widely distributed and migrate seasonally to stay close to water sources. During the dry season, they travel tens of kilometers each day and congregate in the remaining waterholes. This concentration increases the density of contact rapidly, while simultaneously narrowing the reaction space. From this state of concentration, any approach quickly descends to the threshold of direct collision. It is at this threshold of collision that the lions form a formation and press their target towards the center. The distance is tightened step by step, leaving almost no space. As soon as the defensive position is formed, the buffalo charge in from the outside at high speed. The collision occurs instantly, deflecting the entire attack. After the deflection, the buffalo herd surges forward simultaneously, pushing pressure in multiple directions. The lions are separated from their position, unable to maintain their momentum. A single butt kick disrupts their movement, forcing the formation to retreat. Thanks to the brief opening of space, the target escaped the danger zone. From the moment the hunting rhythm was broken, the initiative immediately shifted. Continuous coordination allowed the buffalo herd to control the remaining space. The situation ended decisively. The lions retreated, while the buffalo herd maintained its advantage at the water's edge. In the Serengeti, Tanzania, herds of wildebeest constantly move with the rain to find fresh grass and water sources. The approximately 1.5 million wildebeest in the Serengeti Mara system form a migration stream that stretches hundreds of miles each year. Not holding fixed territories, they constantly change locations to maintain their living conditions. Their curved, strong horns help maintain close proximity, so any approach is quickly forced into a space that forces confrontation. Within that tightly packed space, lions follow, closing the gap with each movement. A young wildebeest deviates from the protective line, creating a brief gap. The lioness immediately lunges in with decisive force, bringing the entire situation to a point of impact. In an instant, all space is compressed, leaving no clear escape route. When there is no more space, the wildebeest leaps straight through the approaching direction, maintaining momentum with its entire body. The toss completely deflected the attack, and the kick to the lioness's head broke the momentum of the approach. The lions changed direction repeatedly but couldn't maintain their position. The gap widened in an instant, and the antelope dashed straight toward the shallow water, completely cutting off the pursuit. The moment the rhythm was broken changed the entire course of events. The initiative shifted as the distance widened. The antelope's instantaneous reaction gave it the advantage in those crucial seconds. The situation ended decisively. The ambush failed, and the lions were forced to stop without achieving their objective. In the vast grasslands, where distance determines survival, packs of African wild dogs proactively approach from the very beginning. Each movement aimed at narrowing the space and controlling the direction of their prey. Without warning, they split up, accelerate, and tighten their encirclement, forcing the target into a passive position and quickly losing control within the first few seconds. Once the encirclement closes and the attack is launched, the situation changes instantly, and the end is often irreversible. In the East African savannas, hyenas are well adapted to harsh conditions, active day and night, and utilize a variety of food sources from hunting to scavenging. They rely on collective strength to maintain an advantage over rivals, but when separated from the group or lacking support, this advantage gradually reveals its obvious weaknesses. Near a patch of low grass, 2 hyenas were guarding a food source when a pack of African wild dogs emerged from the edge of the bushes. They approached from different directions, maintaining distance and observing the hyenas' movements. When an opening appeared, the pack accelerated simultaneously, closing in from multiple sides and maintaining constant pressure, forcing their opponents to retreat and lose their position, escalating the situation to a tense standoff. In a brief confrontation, the pack of wild dogs simultaneously closed in on both hyenas. One held their ground at close range while the others closed in, taking turns applying pressure. Both hyenas were forced to move from their positions and lose their safe distance. They tried to react but couldn't maintain their formation, and the struggle ended there as the pack of wild dogs gained complete control of the area and secured the food, turning the situation into a hopeless one. In competition between predators, numbers and coordination create a clear advantage in the short term. When rivals lose their position and fail to maintain their original formation, the situation quickly changes. And once all avenues of approach are controlled, the outcome becomes irreversible. In the savannas and dry grasslands of sub-Saharan Africa, warthogs live in open spaces, preferring areas with a wide field of vision to detect danger from afar, often foraging near low grass and keeping a distance from their burrows so they can retreat quickly when needed. However, when they move away from their shelters, this advantage gradually reveals a clear weakness. Near the riverbank, a pack of African wild dogs spotted a warthog drinking water. They fanned out, maintaining distance and observing its movements. When their target let its guard down, the pack accelerated simultaneously, closing in unexpectedly from multiple directions and maintaining constant pressure, forcing the warthog to flee and change direction repeatedly, creating a situation of escalating pressure. During the short chase, the wild dogs took turns closing in and blocking escape routes, maintaining pressure from multiple sides, causing the warthog to gradually slow down and lose its rhythm. It tried to react and find its way back to safety, but the escape routes were increasingly blocked, and it could no longer maintain distance. At this point, the hunt ended when the wild dogs completely controlled the situation, and the outcome became unsustainable. In an open environment, early detection only provides an initial advantage. When faced with coordinated tactics and constant pressure, the safe distance quickly narrows, and when all directions of movement are controlled, the situation becomes irreversible. In the savannas and open woodlands of East and Southern Africa, such as Kenya, Tanzania, and Botswana, the impala lives among grasslands and shrubs, utilizing clumps of acacia trees for foraging and shelter. They often stand at the edge of the forest to move quickly when danger arises, thus maintaining a flexible response. However, once separated from their safe zone, this advantage quickly becomes vulnerable to exploitation. In the middle of the savannah, an impala strayed from its safe zone and quickly came into the sight of a pack of African wild dogs. They changed direction and split into multiple groups to approach. As the impala accelerated to escape, one dog caught up and held it tightly at close range, slowing its run. The impala tried to break free, but the others closed the encirclement, closing in on it from all directions, creating a rapidly escalating and spreading pressure. The chase continued across the grassland. The impala tried to maintain its speed and jump to disrupt the chase, but as the distance shortened and its escape route was controlled, the pack of wild dogs closed in from multiple directions, alternating positions and applying close-range pressure. The target gradually lost its balance and could no longer maintain its direction. And at this point, the hunt ended with the wild dogs gaining the advantage, the situation turning into a hopeless one. Among vast ecosystems like the Serengeti and Masai Mara, wildebeest constantly move seasonally in search of new pastures. They maintain a rhythmic troop movement and avoid staying in one place for too long, thereby reducing the risk of ambush. However, when their formation is disrupted during foraging, this state gradually reveals significant gaps. On the grassland, a pack of wildebeest was foraging when they were spotted by a pack of African wild dogs. The dogs quickly split up and approached from multiple directions. As the pack began to panic and scatter, two wildebeest separated from the group became the primary targets. One dog approached from behind to slow their movement, while the others closed in, blocking escape routes and creating a widespread pressure. The chase continued for a long distance as the wildebeest tried to maintain their speed and rejoin the pack. However, as the distance narrowed and escape routes were controlled, one wild dog caught up and held them tightly, slowing their movement. The wildebeest tried to escape, but the rest of the pack quickly surrounded them, taking turns closing in and bringing them to a halt. Ultimately, the hunt ended when the wildebeest could not escape, and the situation became untenable. In the deserts and semi-deserts of the Sahara and the Arabian Peninsula, oryx are adapted to high temperatures and scarce water resources. Their bodies minimize water loss and utilize moisture from their food. They typically maintain formation to limit the exposure of weak individuals and keep a safe distance. But when they leave the formation, this advantage quickly becomes vulnerable and exposes their weaknesses. On the edge of the dry savanna, an oryx separated from its pack while foraging and came into the sights of a pack of African wild dogs. They moved in a wide circle, approaching from multiple directions and maintaining a steady pace. When the oryx accelerated to escape, one dog closed in, slowing it down, while the others gradually closed the circle, blocking all escape routes and creating a situation of escalating pressure. The chase on the dry ground forced the oryx to constantly adjust its direction. It tried to use its horns to maintain distance and pace, but as the distance shortened and escape routes were controlled, the pack of wild dogs alternately closed in, maintaining pressure at close range and slowing the target down. The target gradually lost its balance and could no longer maintain its direction, and at this point, the hunt ended with the wild dogs gaining the advantage. Along the rivers and freshwater swamps of East Africa, crocodiles control the necessary access points for prey, often lying motionless underwater with only their eyes and nose visible, waiting for the opportune moment. This advantage helps them maintain control of the area, but once they leave the water, that advantage gradually reveals a clear weakness. On the riverbank, a pack of African wild dogs quickly spotted a crocodile basking in the sun. They fanned out in different directions, maintaining distance and observing its movements. When an opening appeared, the dogs simultaneously accelerated, closing in from multiple directions and maintaining constant pressure, forcing the crocodile to turn and retreat towards the water's edge, creating a situation of escalating pressure. In a brief confrontation, the wild dogs closed in, closing in at close range and maintaining pressure from multiple directions, causing the crocodile to constantly adjust its position. It reacted by pushing back and then quickly accelerating towards the water's edge. The dogs pursued but couldn't maintain a safe distance, and the confrontation ended when the crocodile successfully plunged into the river, completely ending the confrontation. On the vast grasslands of East Africa, such as the Serengeti, lions live in open spaces, utilizing their long-distance vision and flat terrain to coordinate hunting in groups and control territory. They often operate near water sources where prey frequent, maintaining the advantage for most of the time. But when alone, this advantage gradually reveals a clear weakness. In the middle of the savannah, a pack of African wild dogs quickly spotted a lion that had separated from the pack. Instead of immediately attacking, they fanned out to surround it, maintaining distance and observing its movements. When an opening appeared, the pack of dogs accelerated, closing in from multiple directions and maintaining constant pressure, forcing the lion to shift its position and reduce its control of space, creating a significantly escalating tension. In this tense confrontation, the wild dogs closed in, taking turns closing in at close range, maintaining pressure from various directions, causing the lion to constantly change position. However, the lion maintained its distance, observed, and waited for its opportunity, then reacted quickly to widen the approach routes. The dogs tried to maintain pressure but couldn't keep a safe distance, and the confrontation ended when the lion held its position. The wild dogs retreated, and the situation shifted to a point where they could no longer maintain pressure. In the wild, victory is often decided before the actual chase begins. The predator doesn't rush in, but patiently observes, silently closing the distance and waiting for the prey to reveal a weakness. In an instant, the silence is broken by a swift and precise attack. From grasslands and riverbanks to dense forests, every hunt depends on the perfect timing. What determines that moment of strike? On the vast grasslands of sub-Saharan Africa, buffalo don't hunt but remain highly vigilant. They move in large herds, ranging from a few dozen to hundreds of individuals, maintaining close distances to protect one another. When threatened, the entire herd may turn to surround an opponent, especially when a young animal is in the center, and if even one animal is separated, the risk begins to increase. In that context, two lions moved low in the grass, watching a mature buffalo that had separated from the herd. They maintained their distance, observing its movements and waiting for the right moment. When the buffalo realized danger and began to run, with only a few meters left, both lions accelerated, forcing their target into a disadvantageous position. Under the relentless pressure, the buffalo began to slow down and become unstable. One lion approached from the front to decelerate it, while the other closed in from the flank. The hunt ended when the buffalo was completely subdued, and the two lions held their position before the herd returned. As the hunt concluded, the difference between the two sides became apparent. The buffalo's defensive capabilities depended on its formation, but when separated, its protective effectiveness diminished rapidly. In a short time, the outcome was decided when the target could no longer maintain its position within the herd. Hippopotamuses are among the most powerful animals on the African plains. An adult weighs between 1.5 and 3 tons. Its jaws open nearly 180 degrees with a bite force of around 1,800 pounds per square inch, enough to crush bone. Despite their heavy bodies, they can run up to 30 kilometers per hour on land and move nimbly in water. But this advantage diminishes once they leave the river's edge. In the riverside forest, a pride of lions spotted an opportunity and began to pursue from a safe distance as an old hippo left the water to forage. They didn't charge immediately, but fanned out in an arc, gradually closing in on its escape routes. When the hippo turned to head back to the water, the entire pride accelerated, applying pressure from multiple directions. The relentless pressure forced the hippo to slow down and turn to defend itself. But the distance to the water's surface could no longer be maintained. The hunt ended when the lions gained control. The escape route was cut off, and all movement ceased just before the water's edge. In riverside areas of East and Southern Africa, impalas often stand on the boundary between open grasslands and bushes to feed and observe. This position gives them multiple escape routes and allows them to utilize low vegetation for cover when needed. However, as they approach the water's edge to drink, their visibility decreases, and this change in visibility significantly increases their risk. This momentary lapse in vigilance allowed a crocodile to lie motionless beneath the murky water. Observing the approaching impala herd, it maintained its position, making only minimal adjustments to its target's movement. As the entire herd lowered to drink, the distance narrowed, and the pounce occurred right at the river's edge. The sudden pounce caught one impala off guard, trapping it. The animal attempted to pull its legs back and retreat, but the underwater pull quickly disoriented it. The hunt ended when the crocodile seized its prey and dragged it underwater. Once the prey disappeared beneath the surface, the advantage shifted entirely to the hidden crocodile, and the outcome was decided in seconds. Throughout the grasslands south of the Sahara, African wild dogs choose open areas to maintain their vision and hunt in packs. In the Serengeti, they surround their prey from multiple directions, maintaining a stable formation and distance as they move. Their success rate is around 70 to 80%. But this effectiveness depends on cohesion. A momentary lapse in coordination creates gaps. In the tall grass, a lion silently observes the pack of wild dogs moving ahead. It maintains its distance, observes their direction of movement, and waits for the right moment. When conditions are suitable, the lion approaches silently and accelerates at close range, forcing the wild dogs to scatter and disrupting their formation. This disruption quickly separates one dog from the group, making it a direct target. The wild dog accelerates and changes direction to maintain distance. But the lion closes the gap and makes a collision. The hunt ends when the lion subdues its prey, while the pack behind stops and is unable to return to provide support. After the hunt is over, the open environment shows the initial advantage of the pack, but small deviations destabilize the formation and open up opportunities for the ambusher. Once the structure is broken, coordination diminishes rapidly, and the outcome is decided in a very short time. In large herds, wildebeest maintain a steady distance and constantly observe for danger from afar. They react almost simultaneously to signals, creating rapid group movements to reduce risk. Newborn calves can stand and run after their mothers within minutes, but when the entire herd accelerates suddenly, the calves are easily out of sync and fall behind. On a clearing in the grassland, 2 cheetahs spotted a slow-moving young antelope at the edge of the herd and began to follow it. They circled downwind, keeping low behind mounds to conceal their movements and waiting for a clear spot. As the young antelope tried to speed up to escape, both cheetahs suddenly pounced from multiple directions. In just seconds, the distance narrowed and the pursuit locked onto its weak point. During the brief chase, the young antelope tried to change direction to rejoin the herd, but its trajectory was constantly interrupted. Its speed gradually decreased, and its initial advantage vanished. The hunt ended when the cheetahs closed in and captured their prey. The running stopped. The young antelope couldn't rejoin the group, and the chase ended at the point of being pursued. Living solitary lives, leopards rely on spatial memory and keen observation skills to maintain their hunting advantage. They avoid direct confrontations with lions or hyenas, preferring a stealthy and sure approach. When the opportunity arises, leopards drag their prey up trees for safety, but when disturbed, this advantage begins to falter. The disruption occurred when, deep in the jungle, a honey badger approached a leopard holding its prey. It didn't stop but relentlessly pressed forward, forcing the leopard to shift its position. Approaching from multiple angles, the pressure gradually increased with each step, causing the leopard to lose its initial control. Once the control was broken, the leopard was forced to abandon its prey and retreat from the area. The confrontation ended when the honey badger held its position and the leopard withdrew beyond its reach. The prey was left behind, and control shifted entirely to the one that maintained the pressure until the end. Zebras survive thanks to their constant vigilance and quick reflexes in any situation. They sleep very little and are always on alert, ready to move at the first sign of danger. When one detects a threat, the entire herd reacts within seconds. The sudden acceleration sometimes creates gaps in the formation. On the edge of the forest, while searching for food, a pack of hyenas spotted a lone zebra and quickly pursued it from multiple directions. They maintained their distance, moved low, and waited for the right moment. When the zebra galloped away, the hyenas simultaneously broke away, splitting up and gradually closing the space for the zebra to move. As the space narrowed, the zebra slowed its pace and lost its balance. Despite constantly changing direction and reacting with powerful kicks, the distance continued to shrink. The hunt ended when the hyenas secured their prey, concluding with the advantage belonging to the side that maintained continuous pressure. The water's surface is calm, but even a small ripple signals a life or death moment. Hidden beneath the water's surface, crocodiles remain motionless, patiently waiting for the opportune moment to strike. They don't need chasing or strength. A single, precise attack is enough. When prey inadvertently crosses the boundary between shore and water, the tide can turn in an instant. So what determines who gains the advantage in these brief encounters? Crocodiles live in rivers, lakes, swamps, estuaries, and wetlands in Africa, Asia, the Americas, and Australia. They prefer areas with murky water, dense vegetation, and plenty of hiding places to blend in with their environment. During the day, crocodiles usually bask in the sun to regulate their body temperature, then quietly return to the water's surface, patiently waiting for the right moment to hunt. Crocodiles are perfected for a patient ambush hunting style. They can remain motionless for extended periods, only exposing their eyes and nostrils above the water's surface before launching a lightning-fast lunge when prey is close enough. Their powerful bite, precise reflexes, and ability to sense vibrations give them a constant advantage over many other animals. Lions are found throughout Africa, concentrated in the Serengeti, Masai Mara, and many open areas. They approach prey at points where they are forced to slow down, such as riverbanks. The pride may try multiple times, adjusting their position and approach angle until they gain the advantage. As they get closer to water, the distance to danger begins to narrow and pressure increases. On the shore, the crocodile lay basking in the sun, keeping its body low, facing the approaching pride of lions. The formation was wide, the pressure increasing. The crocodile turned, maintaining distance. The formation paused briefly. At that moment, it lunged forward, breaking the gap. The lions in front retreated. The situation quickly shifted to a brief standoff. Then, a forced retreat. Under repeated close approaches, the lions could not maintain their stable position. The crocodile maintained the gap it had created, then swiftly slid into the water. In seconds, it disappeared. The water surface became calm again. No lions were held back. At the water's edge, where the advantage was unclear, the outcome was decided the moment the gap was broken. Between East and South Africa, impalas live in grasslands, scrubland, and open woodlands. In the Serengeti, they position themselves near the edge of the scrubland to both forage and have a retreat route. Their jumping and changing of direction abilities help them react quickly. However, as they approach the water's edge, the safe space narrows, and the risk begins to increase. Right at the water's edge, the crocodile maintained a low position, almost completely concealing its body. It wasn't in a hurry, waiting for the distance to shorten. As an impala gently separated from the safe edge and lowered its head to drink, the distance continued to narrow, bringing the situation to a near-close approach. At that moment, the water surface surged, pulling the entire action into deeper water. At the initial point of impact, the impala recoiled but lost its footing, causing its trajectory to deviate. The slippery mud reduced its kicking force, while the current held its feet. The reaction time became less effective, and the struggle shortened. The outcome favored the crocodile. The situation was established right at the water's edge. Throughout the situation, the difference lay not in speed or leaping power, but in the control of distance. Once the safe point was abandoned, the chance of turning back was almost non-existent. Therefore, at the boundary between land and water, the outcome was already decided before the action ended. Every dry season, across the vast grasslands and semi-arid regions of East Africa, herds of wildebeest migrate through the Serengeti and Masai Mara in a familiar cycle. Over 1 to 1.5 million wildebeest follow one another in search of water and new pasture. Before reaching the river, the entire herd slows down and congregates in a narrow passage. The distance between the wildebeest shortens. The risk increases at the water's edge. Beneath the murky water, the crocodile lay low to the bottom, barely moving. Only its eyes and nose were visible, monitoring the distance. As the herd of antelopes began to cross the river, the flow became chaotic. One antelope stepped further than the rest and slowed down. The distance was no longer maintained. The water surface burst, and the crocodile attacked at the point of contact. Holded down, the antelope tried to turn. Its movement gradually became uncontrollable. The slippery mud reduced its kicking power. The current held its feet. The resistance shortened. The movements became disjointed. The outcome clearly belonged to the crocodile. At the boundary between land and water, any chance of escape ended at that moment. In sub-Saharan Africa, wild dogs live in grasslands, savannas, and open forests, moving in organized packs. In the Serengeti, they spread out in open spaces to control their direction of movement and adjust their position very quickly when the situation changes. They move continuously in open spaces, utilizing the terrain to maintain formation and control direction in all situations, until they approach a water source. Just below the water's surface, the crocodile was already in position, keeping its body low and barely moving. It silently observed as each wild dog approached to drink. One dog went ahead, stepping closer and then slowing down. The moment the wild dog lowered its head to drink, the water splashed, and the crocodile lunged, seizing its prey. The dog held captive tried to retreat towards the shore but lost its balance. The slippery mud reduced its kicking ability, and the current held its feet. The remaining dogs pressed against the water's edge, reacting quickly but unable to make a difference. The resistance shortened. The struggle quickly weakened. The outcome favored the crocodile. At the water's edge, quick reactions were insufficient to reverse the situation. In the vast savannas of Africa, buffalo move in large herds, consistently following water sources in familiar cycles. An adult weighs 500 to 900 kilograms, with enough force to knock away other predators. This strength provides a sense of security when approaching a river. But once the entire herd begins to enter the water, the risk increases rapidly for those who stray from the group. Beneath the river's surface, the crocodile held its position close to the bottom, almost invisible. It watched the herd's rhythm. When one stepped deeper and slowed, a protective gap appeared. A brief pause, no clear sign. As soon as the center of gravity shifted downward, the water burst. The crocodile lunged, locking its hind legs in place. With the hold, the buffalo tried to turn back to shore but lost its balance. The current held its legs, the pulling force deflecting its movement. Each resistance shortened. The distance to the bank did not decrease. The escape attempt stopped there. The outcome favored the crocodile. The moment of impact had shaped the entire result. Unlike many predators, the cheetah relies on speed and timing to survive. It strikes quickly, finishes quickly, and retreats before another predator appears. After each successful hunt, it only has a few minutes to eat before being detected. Therefore, the cheetah usually chooses weak or out-of-tune prey, carefully observes the timing, and finishes it off in a very short time. And its need for water forces it to approach the river's edge. At the river's edge on the savanna, the crocodile had already positioned itself, barely moving. It watched every movement along the river's edge. After a long run, the cheetah descended to drink. It looked around, then paused briefly. The moment its head lowered, the water splashed. The crocodile lunged, locking onto the point of contact. After the initial contact, the cheetah tried to spring back away from the water's edge, but the leverage wasn't enough to maintain balance. The crocodile held on tightly and pulled it off course, rendering the quick reaction ineffective. The cheetah couldn't escape. The outcome favored the crocodile. The situation was decided from the very first moment of contact. In the grasslands and savannas of sub-Saharan Africa, hyenas are well adapted to open spaces and long-distance vision. They move nimbly, constantly observing and assessing to decide whether to hunt or steal prey. Their ability to remember food locations and coordinate in groups allows them to exploit the mistakes of their rivals to gain an advantage with less energy expenditure, making every decision carefully calculated before approaching. On the dry grass, the crocodile crawled ashore, lay still near the water's edge, and spotted a hyena feeding on a carcass above. It advanced slowly, keeping its body close to the ground to get closer. The hyena continued to eat but had to adjust its pace, gradually increasing the pressure. As the hyena took another step, the crocodile lunged, forcing it back and taking a position close to the food source. After the initial pressure, the hyena changed direction, circling to find a way back, but the advantage was gone. The crocodile turned, blocking its path and holding its position, interrupting every attempt. The pace of approach slowed, forcing the hyena to retreat. The outcome favored the crocodile. The advantage remained until the hyena left the area. Every crocodile hunt shows that victory doesn't always belong to the strongest or fastest. With patience, near-perfect camouflage, and incredible precision, they turn ordinary moments into decisive opportunities. On the boundary between land and water, every movement can be a signal of danger. Just one wrong step or a moment of carelessness can determine the outcome.